It's going down. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praises, honor, glory, respect, and blessings to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachat Wadash. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four quarters of the earth, pushing this truth and sincerity while patiently waiting for Yahweh Shai's return. And as always, I would like to give double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. And welcome to another series of It's Going Down, being brought to you by the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. This is the brother Yashamai coming back at you with another video. U.S. to arm Ukraine with longer range missiles. Now the reason why this is such a big deal is because, as you may know, the U.S. dollar is currently going through hyperinflation. Prices are rising everywhere, and yet they're still talking about spending more money on aiding Ukraine. Now we know that this $2 billion is not going to, just come out of thin air. They're going to have to print it. And we know that the more money the U.S. government prints, the closer we get to a financial collapse. So here it says that Washington is reportedly preparing a new $2 billion aid package, including munitions that can strike deep in Russian territory. So that this is a serious allegation, as you see right there. Okay, so President Joe Biden's administration has reportedly decided to send long-range rockets to Ukraine, giving Kiev's forces the capability to hit targets farther behind the front lines, just as a top Ukrainian intelligence official threatened more strikes deeper in Russia. So this has the U.S. written all over it. The gift of ground-launched small diameter bombs, rocket artillery munitions with a range of 150 kilometers, which is 94 miles, will be a part of an upcoming military aid package for Ukraine. Now, 94 miles, that's a really long distance, okay? And a matter of fact, 94 miles, because see, I live in Niagara Falls, New York, right? So, Buffalo, New York is like 15 miles from here. And that's like an hour drive on a bus. So 94 miles would probably be like from New York City to Kentucky, maybe, the state of Kentucky. So 94 miles is a pretty long distance. And this is what they plan on giving to Ukraine to strike deeper inside of Russian territory. Now, I say from New York to Kentucky when it comes to 94 miles, but it could actually be much closer than that. I'm just giving you an estimate so you can visualize how far these rockets can travel. So it says 150 kilometers, 94 miles, will be part of an upcoming military aid package for Ukraine, valued at more than $2 billion. Reuters reported on Tuesday, citing two unidentified U.S. officials familiar with the plans. The package will also include additional Javelin N-type tank weapons, mine-resistant vehicles, or MRAPs, mine protection and resistant vehicles, multiple launch rocket systems, and support equipment for Patriot air defense systems. The GLSDB rockets will give Ukraine forces further reach, nearly doubling the range of the MLRS or the HIMARS munitions that Washington and its NATO allies have previously been provided. Biden had been reluctant to send weaponry that could strike Russian soil, risking escalation into a wider conflict with Moscow. But he has authorized increasingly provocative aid in recent weeks. Washington approved plans to send M1 Abrams tanks to Kiev last week, even after Biden initially claimed back in March that the U.S. wouldn't provide tanks or planes, saying that's called World War III. While the U.S., well, you know what? That's why the scriptures say, never trust thine enemy. Because one thing about the devil, talking about the Edomites here, they like to speak with a forked tongue. They'll say one thing and then they'll turn around and do another. Okay, that's what a snake does. He speaks with a forked tongue. While the U.S.-made tanks are expected to be delivered to Ukraine by the end of this year, or even in 2024, the first batch of previously approved 60 Bradley fighting vehicles is already en route, U.S. Transportation Command confirmed on Monday. Okay. The GLSDB is being developed by U.S. defense contractor Boeing Co. under plans to quickly get new weapons into production for Kiev. It combines the GBU-39 small diameter bomb with the M26 rocket motor, both of which can be drawn from existing U.S. weapons stocks. Washington will reportedly stop short of fulfilling Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky's oft-repeated request for MGM-140 Army technical missile systems, which has a range of some 300 kilometers, double of the GLSDB's reach. Okay. I mean, that's pretty much all I need to read there, So we see what the U.S. is doing here. Okay. So all this military aid and packages is only going to further lead to this country being even further in debt. So let's get that in Habakkuk real quick. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse. You know what? Let's start at verse 5. Let's start at verse 4. Okay, this is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Okay? The just shall live by his faith. So the soul inside of these Edomites are not upright in them. When I say the Edomites, I'm talking about the so-called elites trickling down to the rest of their nation of people. Okay? Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. And that's the United States. They got troops in everyone's country. They got 50,000 troops stationed on the borders of Iran. They have troops stationed in South Korea. They have troops setting sail in U.S. Navy destroyers by Taiwan, by these different artificial islands, which currently belongs under the sovereignty of China. They got troops in the western parts of Africa. They got troops in Afghanistan, Iraq, in the southern regions of Europe, on the borders of Russia. You see, man? And they also have troops acting as mercenaries in Ukraine. So they don't know how to stay in their own country. You don't see Russia having troops in the U.S. or in China or in South Korea. No, it's the U.S. who's trying to police the whole entire world. Okay? It says, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Right, he enlargeth his desire as hell. Always coveting somebody else's land and their resources. Habakkuk 2:6. Shall not all these take up a parable against them, and a taunting proverb, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And when you look up that word clay, it goes back to the Hebrew word ibatyat, which means destruction. Okay? So it goes back to the Hebrew word ibatyat, which means depth, as I meant to say. So this country has laden itself with thick debt. This country is over $30 trillion in debt. And a part of that is all this constant military funding of its own military, as well as the military of Ukraine. That's why we're starting to see a hyperinflation here, because the dollar is by the second losing its value. So with that, I'm going to say shalom. So on to the next one.